Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our December 2024 book club discussion of A Christmas Duet with the Queen of Christmas herself, Debbie Macomber. I know you guys are so excited. I know I am, so I won't keep you waiting. Well, first, I guess I should. I'm Lisa, and I'm here with my co-host Brenda. For those of you that don't know, we have some newcomers tonight. And Brenda, would you like to introduce our special guest?
I certainly would. See, we're all so rattled. We're going to have such a great discussion with Debbie tonight. But yes, I'd be delighted to introduce her. Debbie Macomber is the #1 New York Times bestselling author and one of today's most popular writers with more than 200 million copies in print worldwide. Her novels have spent over 1,000 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, 15 of which hit the #1 spot. She's also published 3 best-selling cookbooks, adult coloring books, inspirational and nonfiction works, and 2 acclaimed children's books. Celebrated as the official storyteller of Christmas, that Debbie's annual Christmas books are beloved, and 6 have been crafted into original Hallmark Channel movies, which we hope to talk about here in a little bit. She's also the author of the best-selling Cedar Cove series and has served her community in a number of ways. So welcome tonight to Debbie Macomber. We are just delighted to have you here at the Friends and Fiction Official Book Club.
Yay!
Hey, hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, my pleasure.
Well, before we jump into our discussion of A Christmas Duet, I wanted to say that I watched Joyful Mrs. Miracle on Hallmark, and I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite holiday movie I've seen this year. So I wanted to ask, what was it like for you executive producing the film, and how did you like seeing it on the TV screen?
This is a whole new experience for me because this is the 5th Mrs. Miracle movie in that franchise. And
Mhm.
this is the only movie that is not based on a book I wrote. They actually
Yeah.
had a screenwriter come up with a plot. And the funny part is, and I mean, you'll probably laugh at this, I didn't even know about it until it was already in production.
Oh, wow.
So executive producer credit is just in name only. It's in the contract that I get that. Apparently, I was surprised myself. It played Thanksgiving evening, and our whole family was here, and we were watching it. And when it came up, Debbie Macomber, executive producer, everybody turned to me and said, "What?" Because I was surprised.
I love
Also,
it.
yeah. In
You
fact, we
just could
went.
be
Go
you could
ahead.
just be mysterious and say I have many talents.
Yes, I probably should have. I probably shouldn't be so honest and forthright. We actually paused the movie there, so we took my picture in front of the executive producer, Debbie Macomber, and we used it in my newsletter that went out this last week.
Love it, love it. I did see the picture. I think I was on your Instagram. It was so cute. I love that. Um, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought Rachel Boston did such a great job.
I did
So,
too. I did too. Yeah. And I did read the script and I found it that they did not include a lot of the things that were in the script in the movie itself. They kind of
oh,
downplayed her role. She did several things that, like when they put the Christmas tree up, she flicked her fingers and the lights went on. But that didn't happen in the movie.
ah,
Oh.
So it was
wow.
interesting. Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, I wanted to ask too before we get into the novel discussion about your coloring books. Tell us about your best Christmas ever coloring book.
This has been the most fun thing in the whole world is those coloring books. They came up with one, I must have been about like 5 or 6 years ago. And it was so successful. And I said, we ought to do a Christmas one. They did it. It was just based on the books because coloring books were just really popular at that time. And I said, it was really popular. I said, why don't we do a Christmas one? And they said, oh, no, 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 we don't want to overcrowd the market or stuff. But then about 2 years later, they did do a Christmas one. And they did another one the year after that. And then this third one now is a combination of the first two. So it's
Oh,
yeah. So and it's worked out beautifully, and they're great gifts. I mean, I'm giving them this year myself with coloring pens. Yeah. So
Nice.
yeah.
I love
oh, that's
coloring books. It's such a great way to relax
It
and
is.
just get
It
your
is. And
mind off of things.
what has really surprised me is the readers will take out the pages and mail it to me and show me their coloring. And they're
oh,
a
Aw,
great way to learn the use of color too, which has really helped me in my knitting. So,
that's so cool.
oh,
yeah,
that is amazing. Wow. Well, I think that's the perfect combination though, because they would make great gifts, and to do a Christmas one, that makes it even better.
yeah.
Definitely.
Especially when the Christmas
So,
is so crazy and everybody's so stressed out. Relax, color, be a kid again.
yes.
Oh, it's very relaxing. It's very relaxing. So, we're here tonight to talk about A Christmas Duet. Of course, we had our preliminary questions, but I tell you, I have to say, Debbie, this book for me it was like sitting in front of a roaring fire, having a hot cup of tea and a snuggly blanket for me reading it. The setting, too, just completely brought the story to life. So, I can't wait to discuss it with you. But first, for our book club members, as we begin, please be sure to put any questions in the chat that you want to ask Debbie. And as always, we're spoiler free until 7:15, so we still have about 9 more minutes. But that leaves us lots of time to dig into this story. Um, Debbie, could you give us a summary of A Christmas Duet for those who are tuning in to just the spoiler free time?
Oh, sure, I'd be happy to. It's the story of my heroine's name is Haley, and she is has a passion for songwriting, and that's something I can really understand myself. And struggling to be a success in an industry that's very hard to break into because it took me 5 years to sell my first book, and I wrote 4 books all the way through. And this is her passion, but she's had to support herself, so she's a school teacher and she has a very meddling mother who wants her to get back together with her old college boyfriend, which she does not want to do. And when she finds out that her mother has invited the college boyfriend to spend Christmas with them, she's out of there. Especially when her best friend offers her a cabin, which was her grandmother's, up in a town in Oregon called Podunk. Now, my husband asked me, I was talking to him on the way to church yesterday about doing this book club thing. And he says, for heaven's sakes, why did you name the town Podunk? And I said, I
I
had
love it.
to explain to him that authors try to give a picture in a reader's mind with as few words as possible. And I knew the minute I chose the name Podunk, the reader immediately had a picture of the kind of town that was. So
Yeah.
anyway, she gets to Podunk and she gets to this cabin, and there's all kinds of problems with the cabin. She runs into a bat, she runs into a raccoon, and she runs into her hero, whose name is Jay, who rescues her from the raccoon, who rescues her from the bat. And I'm going to find out that he is a musician himself. And they strike up this friendship. And the whole idea of her getting away to Podunk was to escape her family. Then all of a sudden, her sister arrives, her mother arrives, her old boyfriend arrives. So it's it's like a zoo when she had wanted to spend it alone and create music.
It was so, so good. And I giggled when you said meddle, the meddling mom, because that's something that we definitely will talk about later is how meddling she was.
And she definitely was. But in
And
the
I love
meantime,
Podunk. I think that was the perfect name.
absolutely was. I totally agree. That gives you a picture just right off the bat. Well, we're almost to spoiler-free time, but we did have one special guest that wanted to pop in and ask you a question. So, our special guest is, I'm sorry, I lost track of
Should
myself.
I sing
Our
the
first
Jeopardy
live
song?
question, pardon?
Should I sing the Jeopardy song? Do,
Oh no,
do, do.
I think you needed to. But our first live question is from someone we not only know and love, but she's another New York Times bestseller and Christmas queen, and she even did a blurb for your book. I'm sorry, I had a little malfunction there with my computer. So sorry. She did a blurb for your book, and it was described as a perfectly delicious Christmas bonbon of a novel. So let's welcome Mary Kay Andrews.
Yay!
Hello, good to see you. Yes.
I feel like Vanna here.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hey, Mary
Hello.
Kay.
Oh,
Hi,
look at you.
Debbie.
Oh, look at your
Welcome.
tree. Oh my goodness. So you're so festive.
You too.
Your
I've
tree
got
is
to
gorgeous.
say, this moment right here is so iconic to have both of you on together.
Oh,
I know
thank
our book club members are super excited. The chat's blowing up with hearts, but we just
oh.
have to recognize we have two queens of Christmas together with us. So
Debbie, don't you think we should call ourselves the Christmas Bells?
That's a perfect title. Perfect title.
I think that is perfect.
Yeah, we're gonna ring in Christmas every year.
I don't know about every year, Debbie, but this year we are.
Yeah.
I think this might be me and Brenda's Christmas card next year.
I know, right? And now we have a title, The Christmas Bells.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't intend to write a Christmas book 2 years ago. I wrote it kind of on the sly. But the last year I did deliberately write one, and I don't plan to write one next year, but who knows? How about you, Debbie?
Yeah, it's already in the works. It's already in the works. Yeah.
Yay.
And I love it. It's one of my favorite already.
Oh, that's awesome.
Can I go
We
ahead
were
and
going to
ask
ask
Debbie
you.
my question?
Sure.
Y'all, I'm sorry. Actually, I got to do it because my phone is it says my Mac is about to go to sleep. So,
Oh,
Debbie, how many Christmas books have you written?
I believe this is the 26th year in a row.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Ah,
wow.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
do you remember what prompted you to write the first one?
it was when I was writing category romance for Silhouette. They asked me if I would do an anthology with, I think it was with Nora, and I don't remember who the third person was. And that was my very first Christmas book.
Yeah. I wrote my first one, Blue Christmas, because my editor said, the Savannah series is doing pretty well. We'd love it if you'd write a Christmas book. And my daughter was getting married, and I thought, that could pay for the wedding. So I wrote Blue Christmas.
We think as authors, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Do you have to get yourself in the Christmas mood, Debbie, when you write one?
Um, the idea for two books came to me when I was doing a Christmas in July event on QVC, and there was a candle maker there who had his candles on display with uh, um, on display there, and they had names for them, and one of them was Cookies with Santa, and immediately an idea came to mind, and the other one was Christmas Wishes, which is twirled off to something else now. So
Yeah, I guess that's how it happens.
yeah, my daughter just sent me a note, and she said, "Mom, your very first standalone Christmas book was Can This Be Christmas?" So
Oh, okay.
that was back
Oh,
probably in the early 90s.
Wow.
But for my very first standalone was 1998. 1998. The voice of the
The
history is
voice
behind.
from the background.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know? How do you decide whether it's going to be a standalone or a series?
I haven't written a series for Christmas books. It is, every one of them is a different.
Okay, they're
I
all
did connect, yeah, I did connect two of the Christmas books with Cedar Cove when that series was out, but they were part of the series, but everything else has been just a standalone story.
Right. So the network just spun off Mrs. Miracle, right?
Yes, yeah, it wasn't based on a book I wrote, so. But
that's
as
awesome.
as my husband always says, the check cleared. So,
That is a very important point always.
yes.
Love it. Well, Mary Kay, thank you so much. I can tell you're having a little bit of a voice difficulty. Hope you're feeling
Yeah,
okay.
I
And
had a signing yesterday in my neighborhood community club, and I was talking and yapping and talking to so many people. I went hoarse.
Oh,
oh, well, at
well,
least then it's not being sick at least.
No,
But
yeah.
I'm not sick. I'm just hoarse. I'm sure my husband's very happy that I can't talk.
My husband would be too. It
Yeah,
was such nice for you to step.
yeah,
To
he gets like
stop by.
30 minutes of me not telling him what to do. All right, bye y'all. Merry Christmas. Debbie, great to see you.
Thanks so
Before
much.
you go, Mary Kay, let's take a quick screenshot
oh, okay.
of the four
I'll
of
hold
us
up.
together.
I did have
One.
actually, Debbie, I read your book in manuscript form, so I don't even have the finished book.
Oh,
Oh, we did read your blurb. Okay,
yeah.
one,
But
We read
thank
two,
you
it
for
out
that
loud.
too.
Of
Yeah,
course,
thank you for that.
of course.
1, 2, 3. Perfect.
And likewise for the blurb for Bright Lights Big Christmas.
Yeah, it was a wonderful, it was a great read.
Thank you. Yours was, I love the Christmas duet. All right, y'all, I gotta go before my
Thank
Okay,
you. Take
hearing
care,
loss.
Mary Kay.
Merry
Love
Christmas,
bye-bye.
you.
everybody.
Merry Christmas.
That was so nice. Oh, what a great
Yeah,
thing for her to do.
a little special surprise. Okay, let's dive in to A Christmas Duet that we loved so much.
Yes.
Brenda, do you want to ask the first question?
Sure. Sure. Well, I wanted to ask our readers who are watching, who was your favorite character in Christmas Duet and why? And then while they're responding, because there's a little bit of delay, Debbie, who was your favorite character to write?
I think it was probably Haley herself because such of the identity factor, that I know what it is to struggle and feel like you're not making any progress, I can do the spoiler now, right?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I should
Okay.
have made the announcement. It is 7:17. Spoilers are okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you
Okay.
haven't read the book,
So
mute
one
now.
of the great joys of her time in Podunk is meeting Jay and composing this Christmas song, and
Yeah.
which she sings at their community Christmas event, and it's recorded, and somebody puts it up on TikTok or one of the social media mediums, and it just goes viral because it's such a cute, catchy little song that they
Yeah.
basically, she wrote, but he kind of helped her get through certain parts of it because he's a master songwriter himself. And so then it's like her whole life turns upside down because she does have the success she'd always looked for, and it's because of Jay.
And it's so funny because this is definitely a modern romance because, she goes viral. And in addition to their relationship, she goes viral. So I thought that was really cool. I don't know what our book club members are going to say as far as their favorite characters, but I really loved your treatment of Jay, aka Jethro. Um,
Yeah.
and I know Lisa will speak in just what Lisa, why don't you go ahead? What was your favorite character? And then we can
For me,
go from there.
it was Haley. I love how she started off and decided to take a solo trip to do what she wanted to do for the holidays and didn't bow down to the pressure of pleasing her parents or, oh, well, I should go and they might be disappointed. Just, it was refreshing to see someone do what was best for them and their mental health to not put themselves in an odd situation because it would have been weird, well, it was weird, but it, I really loved that about her and I loved how it started off. I loved the whole thing, but yeah, she was definitely my favorite. Now we've got quite a few things in the chat. Michelle says Haley and Jay. Barbara loved Jay, such a nice guy, she said. Debbie says Haley and Jay. Lori liked Jay's mom.
Ah,
And Rebecca says Haley and Daisy. And Debbie loved Haley and Jay. We've got a lot of Haley and Jays. Kathy loved Jay. Marilyn loved Jay. Mitzi said she would say Charles because of how he described Daisy. She's the sun around which my world rotates. Oh, that was
Ah.
so sweet.
Charles is a great book boyfriend too.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa is known for her favorite book boyfriends.
Ah.
I keep track of the book
I'm glad
boyfriend.
somebody mentioned Daisy. I had so much fun with Daisy, this kind of quirky girl that doesn't really fit in and didn't ever learn to fit in. So the matchup with the rocket scientist was just perfect, just perfect.
I
It
loved it.
was. It was. Now, I personally, I loved Haley, but I respected Jay so much because he saw something special in her and he treated her well and he was smitten from the very beginning. So I love Jay, but Charlie is another really strong one because you just felt like you knew him from
Yeah.
your description, you
Yeah.
know.
This has always been amazing to me because as an author, I really struggle with description. And I believe there are like different, how do I say this? Three different kinds of writers in the world. There are those who are natural born storytellers. And and that's me, I'm a natural born storyteller. That's the gift God gave me. But once my writing skills were par with my storytelling ability, that's when I sold my first book. Now, my very good friend Linda Miller is exactly the opposite. She is a phenomenal writer, but she had a hard time telling a story because she got so caught up in the beauty of her words. But once her storytelling ability was par with her writing ability, she sold her first book. And then there's the third type who possess both talents. They're very good authors, they're wordsmiths, and they are also great storytellers. And they almost always sell quickly. And so I'm getting way off track here, but I hope you don't mind. So
No, we
No,
love
no.
it.
so in my humble opinion, people like that are they're almost always one book wonders because they haven't grown up and been rejected and had to learn and had to grow and had to, pursue their dream again and again. And so much pressure is put upon them to do a repeat of what they did the first time. And they don't know what they did. They don't know what they did. So, but I always say they haven't suffered enough. You've got to suffer if you're so suffer, people.
You have to
So
suffer for your art.
yes, yes. But getting back to the very point there is because I'm a storyteller, I'm not very good with description because I don't want to slow down and explain what people are wearing or what the color of their eyes are or anything. I just want to tell the story. So what has amazed me is the mail I get with people that say, "Oh, I could so picture your heroine," and even you said, Brenda, you felt like you really knew that town. So
Yes.
and it's just with certain you can portray with just certain images and words.
And you do that so well because I felt like I knew all these characters. I felt like I knew the town. I felt like your descriptions were great.
And
It's so
it's
interesting to hear you say that for as part of your process because I wouldn't have thought of that at all.
Well, it's interesting because you did hit on that though, because I'm thinking back, why did I find it so vivid? And I think it is like the names you selected and certain other things, as opposed to maybe other writers who might have spent more description time, but it never, I never thought of it until we were just
Yeah.
now talking. Like I never thought about that difference.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I
Well,
have an advanced question from Ron Block, who I know that you spent some time with.
Yes,
mhm.
yes, I did. Yes.
We
He
love
is
Ron.
wonderful. He is just wonderful. I just
Isn't
think
he
the world of him.
fabulous?
Yes.
We love him. He's our happy hour co-host. We have quarterly happy hours with him, and we won't let him leave us now. So he's stuck with us. But he wanted to send his love, and his advanced question for you was, how was music woven into the story, and who or what inspired?
The lyrics for this are actually from a friend of mine whose name is Rhett Palmer, who is a radio personality in Vero Beach, Florida. And he is a phenomenal songwriter. He is probably one of the most talented, creative people I have ever met. He's an artist, he's a speaker, he's a songwriter, he's a musician. He's just multi-talented. But he's always uh, because he's so scattered. He's got pursued so many different things. He's never focused on one thing. And he actually wrote this Christmas song that was played in one of the Hallmark movies. And so
Wow.
the lyrics for that song are actually from in or were in the Hallmark movie itself. And he was very kind to offer me the rights to that to use it. He has the rights for me to use it in the book. And the other song that sometimes he also composed. So I wanted to be sure to give him a shout out to say, he's just so talented. I wish that he could be the success that he deserves to be.
That's
Oh, that's
awesome.
amazing. I
Yeah.
was struck by the lyrics too because you had a lot of detail in there about performance and lyrics and rhythm and all that. So that was enjoyable to hear. Excuse me. I did want to circle back a little bit after since we've had Ron's question a little bit to the character discussion because I know Lisa and I had this discussion over the weekend as we were discussing A Christmas Duet, and we pretty much universally agreed that we were at wits' end with Haley's mom
Oh,
because she was a hot mess
She was the hot
express.
mess express.
yes, yes. Yeah, and I could identify with the mom too. I really could because, sometimes we feel what we know is right for our children. If only they would listen to us. And she was just so determined that, Haley's old boyfriend was the man for Haley, and he'd woken up. Had decided that she was the woman for him, and the only thing standing in the way was Haley's stubbornness. So she just felt she had to do it. She just had to. So, but yes, a meddling mother. And
Oh, yes.
and I think I probably been guilty of that myself. It's, with all the kids we have and
Well, and in fairness, we don't
not
really
much.
know how much Haley told her about why they broke
Yeah.
up because that's
Yeah.
kind
Right.
of only alluded to. So I'm going to give her a little bit of a break. But I can, is Lisa, is it okay to tell her you called your mom and thanked her for
I did. At the end of the book, I called my mom and I was like, thank you so much for not being an over meddling mom.
and she's probably
That's
watching and now
great.
embarrassed.
I know, right? She was,
She's a
I
book
think
club
she is
member too.
watching. I saw her comment earlier go by. So thanks, Mom.
Well, and as long as we're kind of picking apart characters, Zach just didn't have a clue either. He was not helping matters at all. He wants
Oh,
to vanish for 3 years and then come cozy up and spend Christmas with the family.
yeah.
I
Really?
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I think we've all known either an ex or someone like that,
Yeah.
did not have a clue, that couldn't take no for an answer and just thought oh, if I just keep trying or I keep, right, nosy up to the mom and you're like, dude, no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's
You
over.
know, this is the way I feel when somebody who really loves a book I've written, like, the Texas series, which I wrote back in the 80s, I think, or the early 90s. They'll say, oh, could you write another one? And it's like dating an old boyfriend. I'm way past the Texas series, way past it, or the Cedar Cove series. I'm looking ahead, and to go back, it really is like dating an old boyfriend. You just don't go there.
I love
Well,
that, Debbie. That's a great quote.
that is a great quote. Well, since this one's kind of fresh and we had several questions about this, would you consider doing a sequel to A Christmas Duet or a spin-off to learn more about Daisy?
Well, I think I finished Daisy's story in the book that no, I don't, because I've already written, I've written another book that's going to be published next year, and I have the plot for the one after that, Cookies with Santa. Next year's book is
Ooh,
called A Very Merry Christmas, and it's about people stuck on a ferry boat in the middle of Puget Sound on Christmas. So
well, that sounds so good.
Oh, that sounds fabulous. So that was a pretty quick rundown. You already have next year's Christmas book
yeah, Very Merry
going.
Christmas. Yeah. And then the year after that, I've written the synopsis for Cookies with Santa. So, which will
Wow.
probably, well, let me tell you a story about titles. Then Cookies with Santa is my working title. Wait to see what it turns out to be, because it's always a surprise. Now, my very, very best title story is with a book called Susanna's Garden. And it was, I don't remember my working title or my original title. And New York was, marketing is the most important and the most powerful department in publishing. What they say goes. And they didn't like my title. So they came up with another title, which was Susanna's Garden. So my editor called me to tell me this is the title. And I said, I like it. It's going to work fine, but there's two problems. There's nobody in the book named Susanna, and there's no garden. So I had to go back and change the heroine's name to Susanna and add a garden.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm speechless.
That doesn't happen often.
No, I mean, I don't know what to say.
I bet you probably have so many stories like that or things maybe that you wanted in the book that didn't make it in or things that you thought of after it was done that you wish you put in.
Yes.
Um, were there any scenes written for A Christmas Duet that didn't make it in the book that you wish did?
Yeah, there was a confrontation with her mother that my editor said was just a little over the top.
No.
Oh, I bet Lisa would argue no, it would not have been over the top.
So I work with an absolutely brilliant, wonderful editor, and the thing with me is that I know that I'm not the greatest writer in the world. I'm a really good storyteller, but I'm not the best writer in the world. And so when she gives me instructions, I really listen to her because we both have the same goal, and that's to create the best book possible. So when she said this scene is a little over the top, I trusted her judgment in that. Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, I love that too. Well, since you brought up your upcoming works, I'm just so curious. How do you manage to be so prolific and yet keep your ideas so fresh?
Well, like I said, the gift God gave me is being a storyteller. And a lot of the things like the Fairy Merry Christmas is based on a true story. And this Christmas duet is based on a true story. My one of the gals that was working with our team that was doing marketing for me, her grandmother's cabin was made, well, it was actually her husband's grandmother's cabin was made available in Montana. She says, well, it hasn't been used in a while, but it should be all right. So they get up there with their two babies and it's full of cobwebs. There's a raccoon. Yeah, stole that idea. And, no running water. And it was just a crazy time. And so that gave me the idea for A Christmas Duet, somebody that wanted to get away. So, and the Fairy Merry Christmas, that actually happened. A fairy got stuck in Puget Sound and people were trapped for several hours. So,
Wow.
and that just made, the minute I heard that, uh, immediately I thought of all these people on the ferry who had a very good reason to get to Seattle, from Bremerton to Seattle on the ferry. And the story created itself. So,
Oh, that's awesome. I do have to tell you, since you brought up the raccoon, that was just one of the funniest things in the book, because I haven't had an encounter with a raccoon, but I had an encounter with a possum in my carport that was very
aggressive.
disruptive, and I had to call in my friend's support from the neighborhood to deal with it.
The
So I could
raccoon was
totally
funny
see.
too.
Hmm.
It was the hiss. It was the hiss for me. That's when I really just started cracking up. I thought that was so funny.
Based on a true story. Yes.
We have an advanced question actually from our Instagram. It was a DM. What is your favorite Christmas carol?
Oh, there's so many I really love, but I think Mary, Did You Know? I think that just
Oh,
every
Yeah,
time I hear that, my tears come in my eyes, it's just, such a
yeah.
beautiful song. Yeah.
That song gets me. The Pentatonics version of that song
Yes.
just
Oh,
gets me
yeah.
every time. I
Yeah.
tear up every single time.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
too. I do too.
well, one of the questions I had, Debbie, was you talked about series versus non-series, but I was curious about, do you approach, because you said you're the storyteller, so I'm guessing I know the answer to this, but is your process different when you're approaching holiday books and regular books, or is it just all about telling the story?
Uh, no, the process is the same. It really is the same. I take like a premise. And I learned this years ago, and it has been so helpful for me as a storyteller. Like the idea of A Christmas Duet. I knew I wanted to do something with music, and I knew I wanted to do somebody that was struggling in a career. So I sit down with a yellow pad. In fact, as I have one right here at my side, and I just write down, just start getting ideas for scenes. I don't always
Mhm.
use all the scenes. I just start coming up with ideas. What could happen? Who could she meet? And the first thing I wanted to do with that is that she wanted to be alone. So immediately I started thinking about, well, she can't be alone. She's going to have people come and visit that she does not expecting. So then I started creating characters and then I just start building the plot. So because I'm a plotter, I have the whole book outlined before I even write word one. And that's the way I do it with every book.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it works for
It's-
me. It works for me.
Oh, obviously it does. You have a
It
few
works
a few
well.
books under your belt.
Michelle would like to know, what are your favorite Christmas books to read or recommend as gifts?
Oh, well, I like to read something I don't write, and especially at Christmas time. And my absolute favorite Christmas books to read are Regencies. And there are just a plethora of wonderful Regency Christmas books, the Stuck in the Snow or the Christmas Parties. And so I just kind of indulge in that. And then there are also
Fine.
on a faith-based side, I really love the Advent reads. Hallow, I've been listening to Hallow lately. So to do that. And then I have a couple of other ones, just Advent books that I read every year that just kind of prepare my heart for Christ's coming. Yeah.
That's great. I'll have to look into that.
So what are,
Um,
oh, I'm sorry, Lisa, was there another question from the chat?
no, you can go.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been looking at your website, Debbie, and I know you put some wonderful recipes on there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was just curious about your holiday, your holiday menu and your holiday traditions. Would you share with us a little bit about what you plan around the holidays?
Well, it's there are so many changes in our lives as Wayne and I've gotten older. The grandkids are older and now they're getting married. So, when they were younger, we had so many traditions that we did. We would get together and we would make gifts for other people. And the little ones would color the tags, and the older ones would put together, jars with everything to make cookies or soups or spices. And we would do that every year. We do get together as a family. Everybody comes at the same time, and we do games and a white elephant exchange, and so much laughter and so much fun. I don't do the big meals anymore. We used to do the very big meals with everybody there, kids running around. But now it's just broken down to it's a potluck, so I'm not cooking for 20 people. But as for recipes, I'm telling you, I run out of printer ink printing recipes. I love to cook. Yeah, I also love to eat.
Well, I'm with you there.
Me too.
Yeah. So I've been
Especially this
baking.
time of year.
Yes, I've been baking cookies and making candy, and Wayne and I do Chex Mix. And this last week we made Texas Chex Mix with all the different spices in it. So it was called Texas Trash.
I just saw a video about that and I had never heard of it before, the Texas trash pie.
Oh, now I didn't know the pie. I'll have to look that up. This is like a Chex Mix.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the same thing. It was like an Instagram video with everything under the sun in it and sweetened condensed milk in a pie.
Oh, sounds good. I'm gonna check that out.
No, that sounds good.
Okay.
We have a couple of comments from there's so much love for you, and people are just so excited that you're spending time with us. There are a couple of comments I wanted to share. Maria says that she loved Jay telling Haley, don't ever discount the power of your dreams. And I'm so glad that their video went viral. Didn't know that you get paid after that amount of views. So she learned something from
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And Mindy says she liked the story because it was great escape from reality in the midst of a couple of stressful weeks. The story took me to Podunk, which is so different from where I live, and it was such a fun escape, and I really enjoyed all the characters.
When we moved to Port Orchard, which is in Washington State, it's a small town across Puget Sound from Seattle, accessible by ferry. It was a very small town. They only had one stoplight in the town, and everything else was a four-way stop. And we had a drugstore that I loved. And the drugstore was the liquor store, the post office, the drugstore, and a fountain. And that kind of described Port Orchard. And over time with Walgreens and Rite Aid and everything else, that wonderful store closed last year. And
Oh,
it's because of progress in the town. When we moved there, it was like 3,000 people, and now it's like 20,000. So it's just
Oh,
grown and
wow.
got big. So, yeah.
Wow. Everything's growing and changing
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Life
Um,
change.
yeah. And Susie has mentioned well, she said that you're an incredible storyteller and she's been buying your books forever. But she also said that she remembers um, the fairy story, or she has read about the fairy for your next story and she's excited for it.
The ferry for my
I
next.
guess it was
Oh, the ferry boat. Oh, I was
the
thinking
fairy
of
boat.
Twinkle Twinkle, Tinkerbell.
Oh, that kind of fairy.
when
Sorry.
you first mentioned it, I thought that's
That
what you meant
ferry.
too.
I was trying to, the comments flew by and I saw it. I was trying to get back to her original comment to read exactly what she put, but I can't find it.
That's
But
funny.
she did say she remember. She's like, "I'll read it for that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm curious. Well, we may have some other comments in the chat too, but something you mentioned earlier really struck me, Debbie, and that was how you said you were a natural born storyteller, but you had to reach the, you know,
Right.
the writing part, and it took you 5 years to do that. During that time, who was your inspiration, or what kept you motivated during that time?
You know, I think it was a very hard time in our family. My husband worked construction, and there were lots of periods of time that he was out of work. And I was taking money out of our family budget every month to be that writer. And but I think it was his faith in me. And I can tell you a story that's and just kind of describes why I continued on. Uh, Wayne had gone through a long period of unemployment. And like I said, I was taking money out of the family, but $100 a month just to be the writer. And he was paying bills one Sunday night, and he came in and said, I can't make the car payment this month. And he said, I know you want to be a writer. I know that you love what you're doing. I know you've already written, 2 books, but I need you to get a job because we're just not making it. So I had married as a teenager, and I had no job skills, none. But I circled 3 jobs I could apply for the next day, and even now I can remember what they were. But I went to bed and I couldn't sleep, and my heart was so heavy because I really wanted to write. I really wanted to be the writer, and because I had all these stories I was so eager to tell. And Elaine woke up, and it must have been about 3 in the morning. And he said, Are you awake? And I said, Yeah, I haven't been asleep yet. And he says, Well, honey, what's wrong? And I said, I really think I could have made it as an author. I really do. He didn't say anything for a long time. And then he said, honey, go for it. Go for it. We'll just make whatever sacrifices we have to make, but I want you to be that writer.
Oh, that's just
Yeah, so, I wish I could say, I was so talented that I sold right away, but it was another 2.5 years. And there were sacrifices that our family made for me to be that author.
Wow.
Oh, that you know what? Thank you for sharing that story with us.
Yeah.
That's a really personal story, but it also shows how much he believed in you, and I bet he's pretty happy he made that investment now.
Yes, he got to retire at 50, so yes, he is very happy.
And I think we have a lot of writers in our group. So I think that's such a great inspiration to those that might be stuck or struggling with their own stories, um, myself included.
Yeah,
So
just
thank
don't
you.
give
That's
up.
very,
Just don't
very
give up.
inspirational.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a writer writes. You just remember, a writer writes. Yeah.
Well, I know you have to leave in just a few minutes, Debbie, but this has been so much fun. We wanted to do just a few wrap-up questions with you. Just give us a quick reminder. What are your projects that you're working on now that readers can look forward to?
I'm just finishing up a book right now called Chase's List. Remember, it'll never be the title. Yeah, and then
Well,
again,
we'll
that's
post
based on
it.
a
We'll
true.
post the new title.
Okay, so I have no idea what it'll end up to be entitled, but it is about a man who makes a list. He's very wealthy, and he has a list of everything he's looking for in a wife. And then he meets the exact opposite person, and he falls desperately in love with her. So, and I just love this story. Every day I look forward to writing because it's just so good. And so that's what I'm working on right now. And then, of course, the my next Cookies with Santa. I'm eager to write that one too.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one,
Yeah. I'm looking
especially.
forward to all of them. I want
Well,
to
and all,
mention to our members, make sure that you sign up for Debbie's newsletter. It is so great and it's a good way to keep up with Debbie. But also, where else can our members keep up with you, or do you have any events coming up?
Well, just like you, we're moving. We're moving to Arizona for the winter, and it's into a new home. And so right now, I am going to be doing a book fair in Florida in March. And I'm also now a speaker on the Seabourn cruises. So I do
Nice.
writing. It's like a writing workshop that I do there. I also do a workshop on journal writing, and I give a couple of lectures. And that one leaves in April, and it goes from Tokyo to Vancouver, Washington, Vancouver, BC.
Wow, that is
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
I had
Fun.
no idea.
That's
That is
awesome.
amazing. Well, and if our readers want to get signed copies of your books, where can they go for that?
They can go to they can write me and I'll send them a book plate. But
Okay.
because I haven't done any autographings, and I didn't for years. I did, where you did the title page where you just write your name and they sell them as autograph copies, but I haven't done that in a long time after 6 surgeries on my hands.
Oh, well, that would
Wow.
certainly. Okay. So
That'll do
if
it.
someone, yeah. So if someone wants something special, they can reach out to you for it. We always like to ask that because some of our readers really treasure those autograph copies.
And we've got some collectors in our group too.
Well, I can't believe it, but our time is just about drawing to an end. But
I
we have so
know.
much enjoyed talking with you, Debbie, and talking about A Christmas Duet, my favorite read this year for the holidays. Let me get my
Yeah.
copy down too, so we can do one more little
Thank
Bring
you
little
so
shot with
much for
it.
taking the
you like to
time
go.
to join us.
Absolutely. Thank you. I had a great time. You gals are just
Thank you.
wonderful.
Oh,
So,
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Have a
have a good
wonderful
evening.
Christmas.
Oh, we will for
Yes.
sure. Okay. All right.
Thanks. Merry
Uh,
Christmas.
Merry
Take care. Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
Oh,
she's such a treasure.
she is such a treasure, and we got to talk about a lot of neat stuff
I
today
could have,
that
I feel like I could have talked to her all night. I have to say, now that we're in kind of the after show, I am proud of myself. I made it through that whole thing without tearing up. I'm the crier.
well, yes, we know that. But that's
And
okay.
her story, like she said it herself when she said, I'm a natural born storyteller, just when she was telling the story about when she didn't give up writing. Like I'm sitting here like, oh gosh,
My
don't start
money,
crying.
so sorry. My money was on you crying then. So I would
I'm
have
proud of
loved.
myself. I can cry now. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm proud of you too.
Brenda,
Oh, well, I
what a
know.
year.
I know. And to wind up the year with Debbie and with Mary Kay popping in, that was just awesome. I hope
That was
I
so
hope our
great.
readers enjoyed the evening. And we do have a few reminders for you as we're in the after show
Yes,
of things that are
we
coming up. And I'm
do.
going to try to multitask. I had a little blip with it earlier, but I'm going to try to multitask
You go,
to
girl.
to share. First of all, our January uh, book club pick. And that is P.S.
Yay.
I Hate You with Lauren Connolly. And I'm so looking forward to that.
I am
Oh,
too.
and you know
And
what?
Amazon actually just named this as as an editor's pick and one of the best romances for the year. So
Oh,
congrats
that's
to Lauren for
amazing.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Lisa, we're also having Lauren as our Saturday giveaway author, and I don't have the date for that. Do you
Yes.
recall it
It is.
offhand for January?
It's on January 4th.
Thank
So we'll be
you.
starting off the new year and you'll get a chance to win a copy of P.S. I Hate You before our book club discussion of it. So make sure
All
you stop by
right.
the page on January 4th and Lauren will be taking over.
Okay. Then once we get finished with all that fun in January, with the giveaway
Yep.
and the book club. We talk with Jennifer Mormon on February 24th and The Vanishing of Josephine Reynolds. I'm really looking forward to that one as
Yep.
well. Okay, Lisa is our official book displayer this evening. She's doing such a good job.
My middle name is Vanna.
Okay. And then
And
okay, you're going to display, so I'll continue. And then we move to March with I Can't Wait. Nancy Johnson, March 24th, and People of Means. I absolutely love
yes,
this cover. It is stunning.
I know. I'm so excited to have her on for our first book. I can't believe we haven't had her on for a book club discussion. So I'm excited for that. And then also, just as a reminder, backing it up a little bit, February 6th is our next happy hour with Ron Block, who we all love. So keep that on your calendar as well. And this is our last live for
For
2024.
2024. I know.
And oh, one other quick announcement I did want to bring up. We literally just got this. We'll post about it. We just got the uh, confirmation like today. um,
Hot off the presses.
we will be, well, we've already announced that Brenda and I will be at Wild Dunes, Mary Alice Monroe's event. It's a special year. It's the 20th anniversary, and the authors that are going to be there are Kristen Harmel, Patty Callahan Henry, and Kwame Alexander, which is just amazing.
Phenomenal.
And we are going to be there, and we're hosting a Friends and Fiction Official Book Club meetup on Saturday, January 18th, and it's going to be in the private conference room in the Boardwalk Inn from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. It is complimentary, and we will might have a few guests popping. You never know who's going to show up to a Friends and Fiction Book Club party. So if you're going to be at Wild Dunes, please come by and hang out with us. And from those of us that are there, if you're going to the Cocktails with Kwame event, we can all hang out and then go to that together. So we will post about it in a more formal fashion, but I did want to mention it for those of you that are watching live now that we have a confirmed location. So
I know. And
we're
it's
very
only a month
excited.
away. Can you
It's
believe
only a
it?
month away. I know. I know. It's like we're in our after show, and I'm like, I don't want to hang up or get off. This is our last thing of the year. So what are you doing
Yes.
for the holidays, PB?
I'm mostly staying at home for the holidays. I'll cook dinner and it's pretty low key though. How about you?
I'm gonna be in town. I'm actually gonna be off work. And I went to an event with Mary Kay Andrews and Vanessa Riley, and they were very inspirational about their talks about writing. And after listening to Debbie tonight, I think I might shut myself off and pick up my pen and start writing again. I haven't
Yay!
written in a couple of months since I found out I had to move. So I had a dream about my character. So I think that means it's
I
time
think,
to dive
yeah,
back in and finish this draft. So I'm probably going to do that for a day or two since I'm off. And then my birthday is December 30th. So I'll find something to do,
I
something
believe
fun.
you will. That sounds fantastic. I'm so
I'm going to
glad to
get
hear
lit.
that you're thinking about your book again.
Yeah, I was a little down because my goal was to have a first draft finished
Yeah.
initially, like in the summer. And then I was
Well,
like,
but then
well,
you
by the
had,
end of the year. And I'm like, well, maybe by March.
well,
I
you
have
had
to
a
give
lot of
myself grace.
upheaval with the move, so I think you get a pass on that one, but I'm excited that you're starting it back. Yay!
Yeah, me too.
Well,
Me
I hope
too.
all of our book club members have a wonderful holiday, whatever holiday you celebrate, and have fun with friends and family. And we will see you in January.
Yep. We want to thank Mary Kate Andrews for joining us tonight. And
Yes.
thank Debbie Macomber for taking time to hang out with us. And we wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, Happy Reading. And we'll see you in
My line.
2025. We'll see you in 2025. PB and J out.